Ring Queen Lexa Rose here, and I want to talk to you guys about anxiety and depression and how I've been able to overcome these two, I guess you could say, banes of my existence. So I'll start from the beginning. I didn't exactly have the greatest childhood. My mom and my father never really got along. I was born with the expectation of being the overachiever, to be like my brother, who was good in school, was just an all-around good person. He never got into trouble. He got along with pretty much everybody. I was expected to be like him, not like my sister, who isn't perfect. It doesn't make her a bad person. It just makes her different from how me and my brother grew up. My mother wasn't exactly what you call a model citizen. I'll be honest with you, I really tried hard for many years to paint this portrait of her being the greatest, loving, kindest mother, and I hope that people would see that side of her, but there were a lot of cracks in the mirror, so to speak, or a lot of cracks in the foundation, and some people got to see the real side of her that I really did not want people to see. She was abusive, she was brash, she was very ungrateful, and it definitely contributed to my depression and anxiety. I used to try to do good in school, and it was expected of me. I didn't get oh, congratulations, let's go to McDonald's, or, oh, good job. No. I would get taken out, or my mom would do these elaborate parties at McDonald's for like my birthday, simply because she wanted to go out. That was her excuse to basically leave the house. Other than that, she would leave me with my godmother or my brother and sister. Now, them two growing up on their own was a whole entirely different story. For a good couple of years, I was, noticed by my mother. Then my sister had kids, and I was completely ignored. The only time, again, my mom threw parties was mainly for the kids at McDonald's, and I would literally be hanging around with kids I never really got along with. I never even went to school with a lot of these kids. They were all kids of my mom's friends. So basically, it was a party for my mom to hang out with her girlfriends, and I had no choice but be forced to get along with these kids who didn't look at me like a normal kid. I was a tomboy. I liked to dress in jeans. I liked to play in mud. I liked to watch wrestling. I liked to read comics. I liked anime. A lot of things that weren't considered girly. I was bullied a lot in school by the students and the teachers. When I got bullied by the students, I got bullied by the teachers by being called a crybaby. Oh, you can't handle it. Oh, look at the waterworks. And it was very, very frustrating. I definitely dealt with a lot of anxiety because of it. And it only got worse as I got older and I started getting into high school and junior high. Junior high wasn't easy. I had to walk to and from school by myself over a mile. I had to be careful of not getting hit by cars. I had to trudge through the snow by myself. And once again, my mom was never around. Eventually, I got so used to her not being around that I kind of welcomed her being out of my life, so to speak. She would always spend time working overtime for the Long Island Railroad, so I kind of had peace to be who I was. And throughout junior high and high school, I was starting to come to terms with my sexual orientation of being bisexual. I dated a couple girls here and there. I was afraid to lose my virginity because of the fear of Christ and ending up like my sister, pregnant months before graduation and then dropping out. That's a whole nother story. My brother always cared about me. He was pretty much the father figure in my life. My sister, not so much. Not too sure what was in her head then. I'm not too sure what's in her head now, but to this day, I really don't talk to either of them because I feel like they were also partially the source of my anxiety and depression. I felt that my sister resented me for even being born, and I feel like I was a burden to my brother. High school came and went. I was becoming more comfortable being bisexual, and the group of friends that I finally had real friends at this point. And which was hard because I didn't know how to have friends. But then as I got older and things changed, I still focused on school. At that point, it was just like, you know what? I gotta graduate. I gotta at least hurry up and get out of here, and I did. As I got older, I finally got married to my son's father, and I dealt with more depression and anxiety because now I was married with a kid, living at home with my mother, and I was no longer beautiful and young, but fat and old and tired because of taking care of my son. Then things didn't work out with me and my son's father, and my mother placed the blame on me, when in actuality it was my son's father's temper and his excessive drinking and going out and basically abandoning me every week to go and gamble that I finally just got tired of it. And up until recently, I blamed myself for every single issue that I had. I blamed myself for my mom's heart attack. I blame myself for living in a car. I blame myself for living in, an apartment with no toilet. And I blame myself for why my son wasn't with me. But I realized it was the people around me that were taking advantage of my anxiety and depression and using it against me by seeing that, oh, she's not all there, let's take advantage. It really got to the point where when I finally came out to my mother that I was bisexual, she really made me seem like I was a deviant, like I wasn't worth living for, like I didn't deserve to live. And I struggled with two to three suicide attempts and rehab here and there, dealing with a lot of heavy drugs, just to find any outlet to basically what's the word? Basically to numb the pain. That's what it is. Then I found wrestling. Wrestling became my calling. From the moment I took my first back bump to the moment that I did my first monkey flip, and I just knew that I finally found something, an escape and a release. And yes, it was a rocky start for a little bit, up and coming female wrestler. We as females do get the freaking rotten end of the stick because we're expected to just be eye candy. Salacious promoters always wanting to try and get in your pants, and trust me, I've got receipts. And even wrestlers trying to get into your pants as well. A lot of these guys may seem like stand-up guys, but a lot of them are really not. And I've got the receipts to prove it. But I digress. Eye for an eye leaves a man blind. What really kind of almost put a dampening or a stop on the progress of me finally getting over it was the fact that I trusted the wrong individual with my body, and this person decided to record me and him doing the nasty, and he decided to use it as blackmail against me. His excuse was he heard I was trouble, he wanted to make sure he had insurance, whatever the case may be. You blackmailed me. And for quite some time after that video he recorded went out, I was completely depressed. I was about ready to hit my third or fourth suicide attempt and literally give up on wrestling, give up on everything, and I was just really done with it all. I couldn't keep a relationship. Every single person I was in a relationship with either didn't want to be with me, wanted to use me, or just didn't want a relationship. I just wasn't that type of person. And, for a long time I blamed myself. I said, maybe I'm ugly, maybe I'm a lousy wrestler, maybe I'm no good at this. And eventually I started reading up on how to awaken my mind, because I started to think, why do bad things keep happening to me if I'm a good person? Because I kept thinking negatively of myself. And up until recently, I really thought that I was worthless. you know? And even to this day, a lot of promoters out there try to tell me that I am worthless. They won't book me here, they won't book me there because they heard this, they heard that, or they saw this, they saw the video. And that's fine, because right now I'm in a place where I have spiritually awakened myself and realized that I'm in control of my own destiny. I'm not at fault for why someone decided to record a video of me and him having sex. It's not my fault that he felt the need to protect himself. It's not my fault that he was intimidated by me. That's what cowards do. I looked at my life and I realized that there are people that don't even have a roof over their head. There are wrestlers that aren't even alive anymore. There are people that don't have a job. They can't get a job. There are people that don't have a place to call their own. They don't even have a car to get to and from work. There are people that are struggling worse than me, and it was that realization, that revelation that made me realize that I have no reason to be anxious anymore. I have no reason to be depressed anymore. And I want people to understand that, you know, as cliche as it sounds, it does get better. But you have to proactively change that about you. You can't just expect everything to change around you. You have to subconsciously think about how you want to change, who you are, and how you want to change your life for the better. That is how I combated anxiety and depression, and how I was able to conquer my demons. And you can too. You just have to want to do it. It's not going to be easy. There are times where you're going to fall off for like a couple, but don't stay there too long. Keep moving forward, keep doing what you're doing, and you'll find that life gets better. It does get better. There's a reason why you're put on this planet. You have a purpose. And don't ever let anybody else tell you that. I don't let anybody else tell me that I'm a ring rat. Yeah, I got fucked up teeth. Yeah, I got a wrecked up belly. I had a kid. What the fuck is your excuse? Yeah, so I got caught up in a sex tape. Once I get a copy of that motherfucker, Pornhub, here I come. I don't give a fuck if all I do is food videos where I cover myself up in food. I don't care if I get paid to freaking pick my nose. I love doing makeup videos. Why? Because makeup is a form of artistic expression, and I love art. So is wrestling, a form of artistic expression. You're telling a story in the ring, okay? I like to be able to use humor and make people laugh and smile and inspire them to be happy. Because that's what's important, being happy. And once you find that, and everybody's different. Everybody is completely different. So once you find what works for you, hold on to it, run with it. Like, take that ball and run. And don't ever forget that you are in charge of your own destiny and that you can overcome your own anxieties, your own fears, and your own depressions, but you just have to want it that bad. You can't keep blaming other people. You have to look within yourself because it all starts with you. Yes, you got to blame yourself. Blame yourself because you're allowing it to happen, and only you can stop it from happening. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.